Welcome to A Better Black America TV on YouTube. I'm your host, Bushan Glover, A Better Black America Talk Radio Show. Yeah, let's get it. Today is Wednesday, the 24th of July, 2024. Man, and this is going to be a crazy political season. This is something that we've never seen before. We're going to kill two birds with one stone and have a woman and a woman of color. We got to keep it 100 with you. She do not identify as black. But my question is, was this the plan? Think about it. Just think about it. Wrap your mind around it. Originally, we know Biden is not well, and he picked her as a running mate. And he would always refer to her as President Harris. And all of a sudden, a failed assassination attempt, and next thing you know, Biden gets COVID, not during the pandemic, but he gets COVID all of a sudden. And today he's going to make an announcement, and he's stepping down. So was this the plan overall? And then we have to really be honest and not be played, but like I said, when you are in control and you're running mainstream media, you can push the narrative. You can pretty much say what you want to say, how you want to say it. But when they say Harris raised $100 million she did that just a few phone calls, because Biden went on record and said they had $180 million put away. And then there was a major donor that pretty much said they had 90 million for the campaign, but they pulled it back because they were a part of the program that wanted Biden to step down. So basically, all she did was open the war chest in terms of the funding from the donors from the PACs for the Democratic Party. And then they go on record as saying that these are small donors, and they have these henpecked brothers talking about, she raised $100 million of small. That is a lie. That is a lie. But was this the plan? And it's getting real weird right now because the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle, she actually stepped down because of the scrutiny. I guess we had to speak to the Oversight Committee in D.C. I guess she thought it would be a bipartisan or a partisan situation where the Democrats will be on her side and the Republicans will stand their ground and be on the side that they originally stand on. But that wasn't the case. That was not the case. Both sides grilled her. The Democratic Party literally went hard in the paint on her, and her answers when questioned, and I'm talking about Kimberly Cheadle, the director of the Secret Service. She pretty much had a few cue cards, and she's to her guns. And she's opening the door for not only conspiracy theorists, but she's opened the door to actually take the blame, or opening the door to allow the world to see how corrupt Washington was, or how corrupt Washington is, how the CIA has become a political branch of the Democratic Party, because it is Biden's administration that hired her. Biden hired her in 2021 after she was working for Pepsi company, and she was a Secret Service for 28 years. But then Biden appointed her, and clearly it was a DEI situation, diversity, equity, and inclusion, to hire a woman, put her in charge, and this is what we have. Less than 24 months after her being hired as the Secret Service director. Now, they had the hearing yesterday, and they talked about the crime scene. They talked about, she interviewed on Monday, and on Tuesday they had the local police, and the local police literally threw the Secret Service under the bus and pretty much gave them a walkthrough. A lot of our Congress members went to the crime scene, cased the joint, walked around, stood on the slope. A 70-year-old congressman stood on the slope because some information came out and said the reason why no one was staged on the roof because it was sloped A 70-year-old congressman got on the roof and walked around like it was nothing. They have pictures of him doing that, which pretty much blew that out the water. But it just boggles my mind how in 2024, we believe we can just do what they used to do in 1964. See, they didn't have the internet. People didn't have cameras. We had to watch the local news. It was ABC, NBC, and CBS, and pretty much go by what the reporters reported on television. But now you have, this phenomenon called the internet and cameras, and everybody has an opinion, and all you got to do is just pretty much go live or pretty much hit record and put your opinion out there. So now we're living in a society where we have to be absolute. Just like the Secret Service job is to be 100%. No one is supposed to be assassinated under their watch, even if it's an attempt or a failure. They supposed to grade at 100% because they're supposed to be one of the best organizations in law enforcement. But for them to have a situation and then the information start to come out through details, they said, 400 feet and 400 yards away and all of this. Yesterday, they pretty much came to the conclusion that it was 136 yards distance between the podium that President Trump was speaking on and the shed that the assassin shot. Think about that. Put that around your head. Think about that. So now the truths are coming out. We really got to, basically have the real conversation, because when the Secret Service director steps down, they could not answer any questions. It's clearly she was hired to do a job, and that job was to get rid of President Trump. And Biden is on record, and this is one of the reasons why he may have had to step down. They have a soundbite of him saying it's time to put a bullseye on Trump. And you can look it up. President Biden said it's time to put a bullseye on Trump weeks prior to that event. So when you talk about dog whistle politics, that's dog whistle politics 101. Think about that. That is dog whistle politics 101. When your boss says it's time to put a bullseye on the opposition, then that's a signal for these individuals to come out and do strange things for a little change, or for a lot of change in this regard. And my theory became a theorem that the Secret Service had contracted local law enforcement and contracted a third party to work the perimeter, and their main contact has not been identified. They talked to the local law enforcement, the state troopers, as well as the police department. And when they asked who was their point of contact by the House Oversight Committee, no one knew who their point of contact was. They basically got orders. So this is something that's going to come into one of the American history most worst events ever. This is like Watergate. But just like in Watergate, they was able to cover everything up. But in this particular case, they can't cover this up because people are starting to fall. Now, from a corrective action perspective, on Monday, they asked Kimberly Cheeto to resign, and she said no. They asked, have anyone been fired? She said no. And then the grilling came from both sides. And then on Tuesday, she was supposed to go back to the House Oversight Committee to testify once again under subpoena. But she decided not to show up and had a press conference, and she decided to resign. So it seems like she was a pawn on a bigger scheme on a chessboard, and pretty much committed career suicide because she literally was taking orders. And it may not hurt her financially, because I'm sure whatever she was promised, she's going to get that. But in terms of what she looks like, you see how when you pretty much do what you're told and you don't have any morals, you'll be willing to put your entire career on the line to do something for individuals that we don't see, because it's not flesh and blood, it's powers, principalities, evildoers in high places, and you put your name on it, then you will be the one that will be, scrutinized, the one that would actually look bad. So this situation is it's not over. And then My question is, was this the play the entire time? Because just say hypothetically, if the assassin did not miss, and we had watched a John F. Kennedy situation with the head being blown off a sitting president, and then Joe Biden gets sick, and then Kamala Harris gets the nominee, and then the Republicans got to figure out who they're going to put up to run against Harris. And she has not only the weight, of the Democratic Party on her side, but the weight of the federal government on her side. Just like this Project 2025, hit those notifications, because we're going to pretty much go through it with a fine-tooth comb and break it down and pretty much get to the catalyst, because Donald Trump said it himself. He has nothing to do with it. And it is basically looking like it's propaganda. Okay, we have the Russia hoax and all of this. So they putting out this scare tactic to scare their slaves, or to scare their Democratic minorities to basically believing that a human being can actually change, laws without the checks and balances, which is Congress and the Senate. So was this the plan? And it's starting to look like that. But since Trump was not assassinated, he's starting to look like a rock star. Okay, he is trending. The Republican Party is united, and the black community is organizing, because they can have African Americans, they can have the baby boomers, but the African American card is over, because black men like myself, we are pretty much abandoning the Democratic Party. We are seeking our independence, and we will play a major role in who will be elected this time around. Because if you didn't know, Kamala Harris is a prosecutor. Kamala Harris is a prosecutor and became a prosecutor in 1990 in the highest incarceration just 3 years prior to the 94 bill. And her whole career is predicated on locking men up. Okay, and black men disproportionately, you really want to understand the math. Black men are only 6% of the state of California, but 29% of the prison population. So regardless of the propaganda that they put out, and regardless of, the clickbait and all this stuff to try to clean up her background, no, we're going to basically go through this with a fine-tooth comb, because you are seeking the presidency of the United States of America. So now we get a chance to go in your past, to look at your credibility, to do all of the things that, that you basically got away with by being the understudy or the VP. Now that you want to run this country, let's really talk about it. Let's really talk about it. Because what is Kamala Harris's path to victory? Think about it. And I really don't even believe that the handlers or the powers that be or the masters who's putting this thing together even believe in their mind that she can actually win. Okay, now you can raise money. Okay, you can get the slaves and the jigs happy. When I say slaves and the jigs, I mean these lifer Democrats, these individuals who really don't even understand that the Democratic Party is the party of slavery. The Democratic Party is the party of segregation. The Democratic Party is the party of the Deep South originally, that was blowing up churches, water hosing, hanging and lynching. And all of a sudden, they basically signed a bill, the Civil Rights Acts in 1964, and all supposed to be well, when they basically just put on, the pawns, put us as pawns on their chessboard. And now we have a woman, a prosecutor, who don't even identify as a black woman, but she used the black card. She went to Howard University, which is a HBCU. Okay, she dated notably Montel Williams and the mayor of San Francisco when she was the district attorney, Mr. Willie Brown. Okay, but then when she became who she is, and now that she's running for president, and she's married to somebody named Doug, but not Black Doug, a Jewish man named Doug. So if you are married to a Jewish man and you are a major supporter of Israel, what's going to happen to Palestinians that voted democratically the last election? I'll wait that. See, I don't really think that they pretty much thought this thing out. And, a wise person told me a very long time ago, just follow the money. Just follow the money. And this is what we're looking at right now. Just follow the money. Because if you think about it, I don't even think they care about winning. They care about raising money. They care what making the moves that they can make before. But at the end of the day, no, there's no way, there's no clear path to victory for her, because her prosecutory record is subjective, it's questionable. And I don't believe that any black heterosexual man on the planet will be willingly to give his vote to Harris. Now, if you look at the LGBTQ card, the gays, yes, they're going to vote for her. The African Americans are going to vote for her. And then the beta African American males who are scary, who will hide behind their women, will be supporting Harris as well. Because if you look at the science of Willie Lynch didn't bother the gays. He didn't bother the beta males, the ones that, yes, a boss, the non-threats. Willie Lynch had an issue with the biggest, strongest, most aggressive slaves. And if you go back from that time to this time, where are the biggest, strongest, most aggressive black men, alpha males, locked up in these penitentiaries and prisons? Think about that. There's no difference. Okay, they either kill you or tuck you away in some prison. But this time around, the black man is declaring his freedom. The black man is liberating himself. The black man understands we have to champion our black community, because that's the only way we're going to end racism in this country. That's the only way. Because like I said, if we become independent, we could sit down with any sitting president. We could sit down with any culture, group, or race and be friends and cut a new deal. Because like I said, we don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat crime. We don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat poverty. We don't want to beat Trump. We want to beat this terrible public school education programs that's killing society and that's creating a pipeline to prison program. We know this without a shadow of a doubt. So how is she going to win? She's not going to get the Palestinian votes because Genocide Joe, okay, pretty much gave Israel, $95 billion to split up with Ukraine and Taiwan. And they're pretty much supporting, and Netanyahu is speaking today in Washington. So they rolling with Israel. They rolling with the Jewish. Harris is married to Doug, a Jewish man, not a white man, a Jewish man. So think about that. She has not answered any of these questions. She's the border czar, never been to the border. She is one of the individuals that has prosecuted more black men and brown men than any sitting elected official. I'm going to say elected official ever. Okay. And then they want to sit back and put out the propaganda and say, she didn't arrest black men. Like I said, how is it the fact that she became a prosecutor in 1990, and then the 94 crime bill came, 4 years after that. And her whole career is predicated in a mass incarceration era. Black men are only 6% of the state of California when it comes to the race. The whole is only 6%, but we represent 30% of the prison population. 29% of them are rounded up. 30% of the prison population. So you do the math on that. There's no way out of this discussion. And then for her to go to Howard University, for her to be an AKA, for her to date Montel Williams, for her to date Willie Brown, she used the black card to get into a position of power. But when asked, she's not black, she says she's Indian. Her father's Jamaican, her mother's Indian, but her father is a biracial Jamaican. Biracial Jamaican, not a bumble clock, no, a biracial Jamaican. And she's married to a Jewish man. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when you talk about being black and you don't even respect the black nuclear family, and then you have black women talking about supporting her, a black woman, if a black man got a white wife or Jewish wife, Latina, they got issues. So where's the issue with her being with this Jewish man named Doug? Think about that. There's pictures flooded through the internet. People been sending me photos, with the Jewish flag and the Jewish wedding and the candles. I don't know what it's called, but the thing with the candles and all of that. And I'm sitting back saying, wow, this is crazy. This is who we supposed to vote for? No. But when you have a woman in charge, there's some man behind her calling the shots. Because if you follow the money, every elected official that's a Democrat, whether you're part of the Congressional Black Caucus or any caucus, every elected official in the Democratic Party is pretty much, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I'm going to be polarizing right now, is practicing slavery, because you have to follow the money. Your major donors call the shots. So when the Congressional Black Caucus have a meeting and say they support Kamala Harris, it's because they were told to do so, because whoever's funding their campaign is their boss. Okay, and in slavery times, it's their massa. So you got to do what your massa tell you to do, because if you don't, you won't be reelected, because they will not give you the funding. So when you think about this, think about the Democrats, the party of slavery. In those times, the Democrats today, the party of mass incarceration. Yes, Bill Clinton signed the 94 crime bill, which elevated mass incarceration. Yes, the sitting president, Joe Biden, wrote the 94 crime bill. Okay. Mass incarceration. Kamala Harris became a prosecutor in 1990, and she enforced these laws and these bills. So mass incarceration is modern day slavery. Okay, the 13th Amendment reads, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude common unless criminalized. The criminalization clause in the Constitution is the slavery clause, and that's the clause that they used during the Reconstruction period to basically just round up black men and put them on a chain gang, and they rebuilt the South on free labor. Think about that. So we're dealing with slavery still, and our elected officials are pretty much slaves. Think about that, because they have to get behind Kamala Harris. They have to support Kamala Harris because they're told to do so. But the weirdest thing to me, this weirds me out. They came out this year with the top 20 worst cities when it comes to crime. Do you know, out of all 20 states or all 20 cities, 18 were Democratic cities with Democratic mayor. One city, Stockton, California, had a Republican mayor. Las Vegas had an independent. So how is it that the Democrats lead the cities that are in America? Because they feed off of crime. They let you do the crime. Prop 47 loosened crime. Kamala Harris backed the proposition which pretty much anything under decriminalized crime. So they can basically run up the numbers when it comes to jail. And think about, if she becomes president, that she'll be the one, a prosecutor who knows how to prosecute people and says, I'm going to lock them up. This is a vicious cycle that has to be broken. And God is calling on the black man to walk away from the party, to walk away from the woman, because the only issue God had with Adam is that he hearkened unto her, not to him. So we got to get back to God and let them just do what they do, because we cannot have blood on our hands. We cannot support this system. We cannot be, busters or custers and sit back and follow the lead of the woman. Just think about it. We are following the lead of a woman when the woman's best interest is not us, it's herself. And if she can find in to support her, think about that. Think about it. And that's right. Super predators. I heard it first out of Joe Biden's mouth, studying, political science at Central State. And he says, these are super predators. They need to be behind bars. And then Hillary Clinton went on tour and called us super predators. And this is why she lost to Trump, especially in the Carolinas, because they was a never Hillary, never Trump, and they wrote in these nuts as a presidential candidate, and she lost to Trump by 4% because these nuts as an independent got 9%. This is why writing in our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and we believe he's going to tread in the double digits, and it's literally rigged the election, because democracy must die, because democracy shot at President Trump. Democracy killed King. Democracy killed Malcolm. Democracy killed Bobby Kennedy. The democracy killed President Kennedy. Think about that. Democracy destroyed the Black Panther movement. Democracy stopped the black community in the 60s from being strong, black, and proud, and turned us into an ethnicity. An ethnicity. African American. There's no power in African American. Now, African American is they don't consider race. And race is our grace. If you look at the races, the 9 series DNA is the black human that created all humanity, and then the split 6 is the Caucasian and the Asian. They know that, but somehow we've been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, and we're running amok. And like I said, we're not super predators. We're superhuman. Okay, and this is why they want our DNA. This is why you got Asian women wanting babies by black men. You white women wanting babies by black men. Look at the NBA. Everybody look like Bruno Mars. Okay, but the white man is sitting there getting reaping the benefits, but it's literally deteriorating our race and our culture. So this is why we got to get back to the race, because it's genocidal for us to not be a race and to support and to be an ethnicity. So when you got somebody like Kamala Harris, a career prosecutor, what's her qualifications to running the greatest country in the world? I mean, approval rating sucks. Her approval rating is worse than Joe Biden's. So how is it possible she can actually, run for president or qualify? Oh, she could get the money. That's all this is. That's all this is. So, man, like I said, we got to understand what's really going on. And I'm looking at these comments. I want to see a real black looking person, a black man, not no mulatto, no disrespect to mulattoes, because mulattoes got to, respect their white side of the family. Nothing wrong with that. But as black people, man, descendants of the transatlantic slave, we got to handle our business. We got to handle our business. And like I said, they're afraid of us, and we're not super predators. We're superhuman. And the reason why Massa did what he did, Science of Willie Lynch, he got rid of the biggest, strongest, most aggressive slave, is he was intimidated by the biggest, strongest, most aggressive slave. So they're literally intimidated by us. This is why they didn't want us to know how to read and to write and to get educated. They didn't want us to be entrepreneurs. They don't want everybody rich. They want to teach us how to be worker ants, work ourselves to death, because the Democratic Party is talking about expanding, for Social Security to survive, taking the working age from 65 to 70. I mean, quality of life. After you turn 70, the average individual quality of life, I mean, the life expectancy here as a healthy human being in America is 78, 79 years old as a whole. People live into their 80s, 90s, and some even hundreds. What is the issue? So they're scared of the competition. So this is why the first time in my lifetime, the black race led by black men, okay, these former super predators, okay, the former slaves, we're basically declaring our independence, because when the Civil Rights Act was signed in 1964, that granted us the right to vote for anyone that we so shall choose, not who they tell us to. So when they gave us Joe Biden as a presidential candidate to run again without a primary, and then all of a sudden they put Kamala Harris up, it seems like that was the original plan after all. And if you look at society, crime is at an all-time high, how everything is out of control, this is a perfect storm to elect a prosecutor to be the president and to sit back and say, we're going to do away with crime. We're going to bring back the mandatory minimums. We're going to have zero tolerance. And then the ecosystem that they have created, then they set up a perfect storm to where they can actually, get it done and look like they pretty much fixed the whole operation. Because what I'm saying is, as blacks, as whites, as anybody that lives in the country, we want poverty to end. America is a rich country. We got so much money for war, but we can't feed the poor. Crime's out at all-time high. Our educational system is being misconstrued. School choice is a topic of discussion. But if you live in a city, your education, might be suspect. And then we all know if your reading and writing and comprehension is not up to par by the 3rd or 4th grade, then you are literally labeled as a person that will wind up in prison. And if you didn't know, 6 out of 10 black men in this country find themselves behind bars in a municipal, state, or federal prison at some time in their lifetime. And like I said, in the state of California, where Kamala Harris' prosecutorial career started in 1990, at 6% of the population is black, but 30% of the prison population is black. That's so disproportionate, and that will be a strike on her record. And this is why she will not get the black vote. She's going to get the African American vote. She's going to get the slave vote. She's going to get the LBGTQ LMNOP vote. She's going to get the baby boomer vote, but she's not going to get the vote of the black man. And our sisters, y'all leave us alone on this. Don't even come to us and ask us, support this and support that. We're not supporting her or you, because I know without a shadow of a doubt, you're mad and you're angry that you got to get up and go to work every day, that you don't have a husband that's covering you. You don't have a man that can love you. So this is why you're mad, and you want us to continue to ride this train to hell, or to stay in this burning house with you that Dr. King so talked about when it came to, desegregation and integration, because it destroyed us. And they got rid of the black man. If you look at the numbers in 1964, the black family was booming. But after that, what we had, Vietnam, the drugs and AIDS and crack and heroin epidemic. And then here come the 80s and 90s with mass incarceration. And now we're still here today. Think about it. And if you want to control the black family, you control the woman. And that's the science of Willie Lynch. So you got all these hurt, abused women that's supporting this system, because somehow they don't understand that it's not flesh and blood. It's powers, principalities, doers in high places. So you guys hate President Trump, and he hadn't done anything to you, but you love the party of slavery. You love the party of Jim Crow South. You love the party of whites only. You love the party of mass incarceration. You love the party that loves crime. And the party that loves crime is the Democratic Party, because they passed Proposition 47 in the state of California in the last election process. But now it's going back on the ballot to bring it back, because it took the power out of law enforcement. It took the power out of policing. So basically, the police and the sheriffs, their job is to basically just, show up and, lock people up and do whatever. But policing is prevention. Policing is correction. They used to walk the beat back in the day and be friends and friends in the community. I remember when the LAPD would give us baseball cards and candy and stuff as kids. But then after the crack era, after mass incarceration, they basically bust heads and ask questions later, stop and frisk, the whole nine. So when looking at the situation, we know we will become a boiling point. And right now, the only way that we can fix this is to declare our independence. And this is why I'm calling all black men, to a Democratic Party, to abandon the ethnicity and become black again, because it has everything to do with our race. And if we become black, we can sit down with the Caucasian community, with liberals as well as conservatives. We could sit down with the Latinos. We could sit down, we can have a conversation and create an infrastructure that can actually change the face of America. And this is why the vision came to me to start a Better Black America TV, a Better Black America talk radio show, because our mission statement is we seek solutions and resolution to create a better America. Because if the black man became the leaders that he used to be, then we can control the gangs. We can control the violence. We can control the environment by having our own black delegation that's pretty much lobbying Congress and House members to pretty much pass bills, laws, and legislation that can actually help our community. Because how is it that 18 of the top 20 worst cities when it comes to crime are Democratic? One is Stockton, California is Republican, and Las Vegas is independent. How is that possible? Because black men are not in the equation. We somehow hid in the wilderness, but it's time for us to come out now. We can't be scared. We can't be, I'm getting mine, I'm gonna do what I do. No. We can't do that, because we see what happened when we allowed the women to run it. They made our sons gay. They made our daughters lesbian. And then they pretty much took the money and they got the jobs and they working themselves to death. This is why their health is bad. This is why they're angry. This is why they don't want to get up and go to work every day. And this is why they mad at me and you. And we didn't do anything. But when Massa of the Democratic Party tell them, we're not voting for Joe, so now y'all gonna vote for the hoe. That's what they do, because they're not going to bite the hand that feeds them. And if you could look at the data and look at, the Me Too and Time's Up, these were women 20, 30 years, suing men for raping them. But they basically said, I had to do it because of my, I was a single mom. And so what I'm saying is, a woman going to do what she got to do. Okay. No matter what, her morals don't matter. Long as she got food and shelter, she going to do what she got to do. But see, men, we stand up and rise to the occasion and take chances in life. And if you didn't understand, the biblical curse is over. That's why I rocked this 1619. If you track 2019 from 1619, that's 400 years. The Bible talks about a 400-year biblical prophecy in the book of Genesis and in the book of Acts. And this year on the calendar, on the 20th of August, it will expire. So I'm calling all the black men out. Okay? This is our moment in time to stand up and be the leaders and beacons in unity, and stop being African American, which is an ethnicity that they gave us. In the 60s, we was saying it loud and we was black and we was proud, and then black power, okay, because black power is the strongest of, because to make the color black, you need every color in the color chart. So if you reverse that, then every color came from black. And that's science. You can look up Lucy, the oldest, human remains, or the oldest fossils that was ever found on the continent of Africa, And if you think about that, Africa is literally a peninsula. So literally from South Africa, all humanity came from. And there's no way, no how that you can get a non-melanated human being in that region. This is why when they talk about the Egyptians and, Pharaoh and all that, this was all on the continent of Africa. So this is why we're, they're making us an ethnicity and, questioning our gender and allowing our children to choose their sex and all. Man, God made male, God made female, end of discussion. And Gavin Newsom just signed a bill last Monday, Assembly BB 1955, to where teachers are not required to tell the parent of the kid's sexual orientation. So if your son is acting up and being loud in class, you might go, Mr. and Miss so-and-so, your son has been acting up in school and acting up in class. Or if he's an A student or she's an A student and she get a C, teacher might give you a call or send a note home. Your child is slipping in class. We need to, son, leave your house in a baseball cap, t-shirt, some jeans, but then he go to class and put on a moo-moo and lipstick and he's 6 years old. She's not required to tell the parent. And that's crazy. And then President Joe Biden, who will go down in history as the first sitting American president under hospice care, with a do not resuscitation clause. And then we sitting back, they give us a prosecutor in Kamala Harris. Just give her, no debate, no nothing. Just put her, just give her to us, force it on us. That seems like rape and molestation. And now she's a prosecutor married to a Jewish man and expect the Palestinians to vote for the genocide of their people. And Israel, Netanyahu is in Washington today. Is that not a slap in the face? That's why I says all of these things that we're dealing with seems to be distractions. They got a mind, off of things, and they're doing these magic tricks. But I don't believe there's a way for her to beat Trump. So what I'm saying is, listen, we got to get back to black. Okay, it's time for us to love and connect. And at the end of the day, we got to get back to God. And like I said, I can really, go for the woman, do what you do, but just understand that when the situation happened, so metaphorically, Adam was hiding. And God said, Adam, where you at? Adam come out covering his genitalia. Eve covering her genitalia as well as her breasts. Adam, what have you done? Adam threw Eve under the bus and said, the one you gave me, she gave it to me. She offered it to me. I partook of it. And what TD Jakes would say, I swallowed. Okay. Sounds like sex to me. Okay. But we'll have that another discussion. You're going to have to hear my sermon on that. And then God told Adam, hey, all right, listen, Eve, what have you done? Eve turned to the serpent and said, he deceived me. And God immediately said that your seed will crush the seed of his head. His seed will clip at your ankles. You have conceived. Think about that. It was a threesome. But the serpent needed to go through Eve to affect Adam. So now that we are men and we are declaring our freedom and our liberation, we got to get back to God. So it's okay to leave her where she is. So Eve can go with the devil. She can go with the Democratic Party, the party of slavery. And Democrat means demon, diablo, or devil. Think about it. Ask your Latino friends. They say, oh, demonio. So let the party have her. It's okay to be without her. It's okay to be single. It's okay to be independent. Just say if we were athletes in a terrible contract. An athlete where we're basically, a superstar, but we getting a rookie salary. And then we're not under contract. We don't have to sign this contract. We can be free agents. So if we're a superstar basketball and they're paying for us to play in Europe, let's go to Europe and make 200-300 million and then come back. This is the year. Just like with the Asians, they have the year of the Chinese, the year of the rabbit. This is the year of the black man. Okay, and the number 4 is culture or freedom. Culture is sex. Culture is LGBTQ. Culture is affirmative action. Culture is DE. That's culture. Freedom is freedom and liberation. That means everybody is in their own lane and there is no traffic in your lane. Meaning wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever situation you're in, you get an opportunity to be your best rendition of yourself. And this is what we're doing. And this is what we got to do. So, man, I'm encouraging you today to really pray, get back to God, let Eve go with the devil, because we got to get back to God. Okay, there's no lesser of the two evils. Okay, evil is evil. It's either Lucifer or Satan. Okay, and somebody said the old man or the con man, but now you got Kamala Harris running, so you got the old man versus the bedwench concubine, the career prosecutor who's responsible for locking up an entire culture. See, they're not ready for that conversation, but this is a conversation we're gonna have, at our nonpartisan third-party convention. Because my third party candidate is Jesus Christ. There's people voting JFK. There's people that's going to vote for Cornel West. There's people going to vote for Jill Stein in the Green Party. There's people going to vote for the American Independent Party person and our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. So, man, this is crazy. A bedwench concubine is running for president of the United States, and they just gave it to her. She did not access. The Secret Service director stepped down after the assassination attempt. The news was misconstrued and lying to us because the distance was 136 feet away. So it was an inside job. So Trump was supposed to get assassinated, and then we were supposed to just ride with her because we need to come together. I can't vote for a presidential candidate that sounds like she's constipated and talking on the phone while she's sitting on the toilet. Just can't. I can't support a woman who don't declare herself to be of the black culture and don't even have any biological children and is married to a Jewish man, knowing that the Democratic Party's money is all connected to Jewish. See, the Jewish people came to America and changed their name to assimilate as white people. Think about that. They own Hollywood, they own mass media, ABC, NBC, Viacom, all of that. So they pretty much invest in blackness so they can protect their side because they're not Aryan white. This is why they play the race card. This is why they get a bunch of concubines and get the gays and all that to promote their agenda. And this is why they funnel a whole lot of cash to Democratic politicians so they can actually get their assignment. Because I heard Warnock say, our assignment is to get Joe Biden to the finish line. Who gave you the assignment? Who's at the wheel right now? If Joe Biden is not fit to run for president, he's not fit to run the country. So who's running the country right now? And like I said, from a game perspective, recognized game, I will go ahead and have Joe step down and have her sworn in as a sitting president, and then go ahead and say we had a woman president, because there's no way at this point in time that I can see a pathway to victory for beating Trump. The Republican Party is unified. The Democratic Party is disarray. And like I said, we got to get through the convention to see if she gets those delegates, because she need 1,995 of them to be the presidential candidate. But I don't see no bed with your concubine becoming the president of the United States. So this is the weirdest thing ever. So let me get into these comments before I get up out of here. I appreciate y'all. So, hit the likes, hit the subscriptions, because we're going to talk about the Project 2025. We're going to go through all of them. We're going to really have a conversation, because, don't let that scare you, because there's nothing that can actually change by a president. This is why you have the House of Congress, and it has to go through its checks and balances. So let me see what we got here. I've seen black poverty and doesn't exist in Europe, even in Africa. Well, that's on what city you talking about, because in Africa you got third world countries. Okay, when their poverty is pretty much they got to walk to a well and pump the water, and it's dirty water. They don't have running water for showers. They got to take baths in lakes and rivers and things like that. So, that's, something that, that's a good, I don't really want to throw them under the bus, but I would say that, that's not true. So let me see here. I got a Tasha Noel, and we've given these Democrats a chance. But we have, what have they done for us? Why not give Trump a chance and see what will happen? If I believe that we show the mass support of him, then things might be better for us. Ms. Tasha, for real, listen, Trump got 9% of the black vote in the last election. That was pretty much the highest ever. And they talking about Trump might get 20% of the vote. Okay. And there's blacks for Trumps. Trump is resonating in the black community, and that's real. But what we're doing, we're nonpartisans here. But one thing that we do know, look at my eye, I'm winking at you. We write in our third party candidate. When I say our third party candidate is Jesus Christ, that's going to be who we write in. It's going to be a no vote for the party, which will help the Republican Party, but we're not going to join the Republican Party because we will not have a voice either. So just say hypothetically, if the plan works, Trump wins, there's a third party coalition that voted for Jesus Christ. We can actually show up on Inauguration Day as a black delegation, as the theocrats ruled by God, abandon the Democrat, which is ruled by the devil, and we can actually cut a deal, because we want to beat crime, we want to beat poverty, we want to beat all of these things, and we believe that blacks have to be championed with our reparations, with land, all of these things to basically unify the race, which can actually make us assets to the country and not liability. God bless you if you do vote for him. No, I don't have no problem with that. But we're not going to vote for either, because the two-party system, this democracy, is a sham. So, thank you for the question. And I hope, you can actually subscribe if you have not. Let me see here. The South Carolina senator looks stupid backing Trump. He didn't even give a VP a nominee. Let me see here. Black senator. I think that would be Tim Scott. So yeah, something is suspect about that brother. There are slippery characters. This is why, I'm ejected from Uganda. Okay, like I said, I appreciate y'all. I guess we're global now. We got people from entirely different countries on right now, and I appreciate you. She would use anybody black to get the white vote or Jew. That's 100% true. I agree with you on that. Let me see here. Trump 2024. Hey, do your thing. You know what I'm saying? I subbed, and let me see here. Thank you for the subscription. Vote Trump. I mean, listen, man, we got a job to do. We are free. We are independent. the Civil Rights Act was signed, so that means we get an opportunity to vote for whoever we choose. We don't have to vote for who masters say vote for. And like I said, I appreciate you. Thank you for your subscription, and hit those notifications, because we're going to have these conversations. Let me see here. Justice and legislative branch have more to do with the president by themselves. Absolutely. This is why when they talk about that Project 2025, when they talk about that, this is why it's a joke, because it's an extreme, measures that basically will change some laws, but these things cannot change without legislative. These things cannot change going through the House of Congress, going through Senate, as well as going through the president, who actually have to sign. So they're using fear tactics, and I've heard too many people talk about it and use it as a scare tactic. So at the end of the day, we got to do what we got to do. But when putting Kamala Harris up there, I really don't understand. Like, how can she resonate in New Mexico? How can she resonate in the state of Texas? How can she resonate in Louisiana, in Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, West Virginia, Minnesota? So it's crazy. I don't even think she's going to win place or California, because if you didn't know, there's a whole lot of Democrats in the state of Chicago. I mean, in the city of Chicago, which is pretty much Democratic, that's literally having issues with the Democratic Party due to the fact that these migrants moved into the cities, and they pretty much getting, being compensated. And the city, the blacks that's been there this whole time are still going through what they going through, and they bringing in these migrants and rolling out the red carpet, having them stay in 5-star hotels and giving them vouchers, giving them cash and all of that. And in the state of California, she basically was the prosecutor, the top cop, and through the mass incarceration period. So she might not even win the states. And I don't even believe that these evildoers in high places really care about winning. I think they care about the money. I think they care about, what they, can put the daily news thread, all of that, because this is probably the worst presidential candidate in American history. Just like I just said, the black race and the black population is only 6% of the state of California. So if every black registered voter, non-felon registered voter, voted for her, that's still not enough for her to win. So she's going to have to resonate with the Palestinians. She's going to have to resonate with the Latinos. She's going to have to resonate with whites. She's going to have to resonate with conservatives. She's going to have to resonate, with everybody, moderates, progressives, the whole nine. And based on her personality, she's not a likable person. And then you look at her vice president record. Oh, she been to so many countries and all this, but she ain't even been. She's a border czar and have not even visited the southern border. And that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. So like I said, you could do your thing with Donald Trump. That's fine, because if you do, you're going to vote for a winner. But we're basically going to rig the election, and because we got to show the Democratic Party that you just can't, take our vote every 4 years. So in 2028, they're going to have to come correct if they want us back, because we got to declare our independence, because we don't want to be, stuck between a rock and a hard place. We don't want to be the Science of Willie Lynch, tied between two horses, and they beat the horses, rip us to shreds. We don't want to be stuck between that. We want to be nonpartisan independence. Metaphorically, if we was athletes, we're free agents, and we could go get the bag somewhere else. We don't even have to play in a league no more. But if they want us and they know how important we are, then they're going to have to cut a deal with us, and we're seeking a new deal. This is why this election cycle, we're going to declare our independence, and this is what we're going to do, because we cannot support the Pharisees and scribes or the Sadducees and Pharisees. We got to support and get back to our God. So the devil could have a woman. I'm just saying, from a Democratic perspective, we're not going to follow you. Stop telling us to support and all of that, because this ain't even about you. It's about good versus evil, which is God versus the devil, and it's proud versus pride. So with that being said, man, y'all have a beautiful day. Thanks for tapping in. This is A Better Black America TV on YouTube, and you just tuned into the A Better Black America Talk Radio show. Peace out.